we can give those fashion companies a real look at who is buying their products and what they look like. And when you know and understand your customers better, your real customers, and not like just a marketing persona that you're designing for, I think there is a real magic and power to really create a positive, sustainable impact and to reduce fashion waste and mass production of the wrong items even further.
Well, we're here with Christina Hadinoto, who is an entrepreneur, but I've known Christina for a long time. I think at one point we were kind of like models together in a photo shoot for Microsoft, hiring college recruits and stuff like that. That's a long time ago when we were both at Microsoft Belgium. We've been on very different paths, and I want to learn everything about Contour Lab, the company you founded. But first and foremost, how are you doing today?
Well, thank you, Jasper, for having me. It's really great to see you again after such a long time. I've been good. Indeed, like you said, we have some very different paths after Microsoft. And I think I've been in the fashion business after Microsoft for like 7 years or so. And then I started my own company. It was never my intention to start one, actually. It just became this organic thing after COVID. And it's been a very fascinating and interesting journey to be in, in my case, in fashion tech. And as you must know, the journey is a roller coaster. So great.
And this roller coaster is getting to a point where people are noticing and people are celebrating you, because I don't want to make you blush or put you on the spot, but congratulations on being nominated for the Rising Star Award in the WIMIT Awards, which is a Belgian organization to celebrate female entrepreneurship. So I believe on May 15th we will find out if you've won.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. It's actually a real honor to be nominated and to be even considered for this award. So I'm really proud and also humbled to be in the race, let's say.
Yeah. So let's dive into what you're doing with Contour Lab and this concept of fashion tech, which is really interesting because the fashion industry is a very interesting beast, if you will. There are few industries out there that have such a regard on one end and interest and following and impact in the world. But once we open the hood, we also see more negative sides of that industry. It's an industry that causes a lot of pollution. There's a lot of ripple effects into more negative sides. And there's a lot of issues where entrepreneurs like yourself believe that with the right fashion tech solutions, we can solve a lot of these issues, and that's where you come into play. So help everybody understand that doesn't know what Contour Lab is all about, what you do and how you tackle some of these more, let's call them negative spillover effects of the fashion industry.
Yeah, so Contour Lab is actually a digital shopping advisor, which means that we created kind of a replica of a trusted shop advisor in the physical store, but we translated through AI for the fashion e-commerce, so the online world. So our mission is actually to transform the online shopping experience in order to get more body positivity and sustainability within this industry. Because as you said, it is an industry that is very polluting, but also, fashion is meant to be something that brings a consumer more confidence. Mm-hmm. If you dress, the right way and you get compliments, it puts you in your power, and it lets you feel better in your own skin. But everybody's different, so everybody's unique with its own body type and external features. And so when it comes to online shopping, it can be quite hard to find the right things for you. We don't match all with the same trends and clothing. And when you go into an offline store, there are people to help you with that. There are people that can advise you on what to wear best. But online, consumers are basically just getting lost, mainly because, they are confronted with an overwhelm of products, but also with a big fit and size uncertainty. Right. And so we've built our software is that we recommend the most flattering clothing items in terms of, fit, form, and color for a specific individual. But also with the sizing, which is actually the biggest reason for returns nowadays. And so we're helping fashion companies to tackle this and to help their end consumers better and more inclusively to find the right items.
Yeah. You said one of the benefits that you just mentioned is, reduce the amount of returns. And can you, for somebody that obviously has used online shopping myself, but is not part of that industry, can you help me understand like how big of an issue that is returns, like the amount of cost? Because we've all been there. We've all ordered stuff from an Amazon or an online retailer, and to your point, we're not happy with it. We have to go repackage it because the original package usually is already in the trash. We have to go back, send it out. There must be a huge cost related to that. So do you have some insights on what for the online retailers, if you will, what that quantified benefit is of using technology like this?
Yeah. So first of all, when it comes to returns, it has a very, very polluting impact. If you know, it's 56% of online orders of clothing being returned.
Wow.
That means that the full industry and its polluting impact is the equivalent of 1 second that a filled garbage truck with clothing is being landfilled or burnt, like every single second, which is crazy. But then when you think about the other disadvantages that the fashion companies struggle with, it's a commercial one. Like every second that a return is in transport or on their way, it's not having the stock in place to sell it. Mm-hmm. So that counts through, and then also the warehousing processes that you need to handle and to process all those returns. I mean, it was in the press a couple of times. I don't think that a lot of those items are getting in rotation again when it's being returned. They just skip the whole process and it's going straight to the landfills to be burned or to leave it there. And I think from space you can even see those regions where all those clothing items are piled up, and it's really going in the wrong direction. So I think when you have a solution like this and you can be more sustainable, because the ESG reporting and the legislation is coming, it's already there for corporates. I mean, you are obligated to report on those carbon footprints and all the actions that you are taking. But then for the fashion company itself, it's, you can increase your gross margins by just lowering those returns and then being sustainable. I mean, for those companies, it's basically a win-win.
Yeah. You mentioned legislation is coming in some parts of the world. It's already there. Do you see that? Do you see an accelerated conversation today behind the scenes where, bigger retailers or brands didn't give it the necessary attention, if you will? Like, do you see today a very different conversation than when you started this? A couple of years ago in COVID, when it was more like, oh, we need this right now because everybody's online, and you said yourself, it kind of came about organic, but now people are having to make decisions to be ahead of issues. Do you see a very different conversation today?
I do. I really do, and it's very interesting. Like on one side, it's mainly about the AI evolution as well, which is a totally different conversation than when I started a couple of years ago. But also on the sustainability aspect of things, you see the fashion companies also, becoming more aware of the problem. I think when I started out and I had some conversations with the companies, like returns wasn't really on their prioritization list.
Right.
I think it wasn't even in the top 10 really. But now that legislation is coming, there's a lot of things to do around greenwashing and all of that stuff. And you see the companies taking more and more action. Now the question is, okay, what are we going to do in terms of sustainability? Are we going to work with better suppliers, give it more transparency, working with tools like us to lower the returns? Everything is a thing now and is a subject that passes the management teams. But what I saw in a recent report of the Fashion Revolution organization is that when it comes to actions and transparency, there are things happening, but a lot of companies, I think it's 99% of the companies, don't disclose any transparency of the amount of overproduction that they're doing. I think that is kind of like yes returns and yes better suppliers, inclusivity and better wages, like all of that stuff is around. But what about all the items that they're producing that they cannot sell? Because it's often a one-way conversation. Fashion creativity, it's a designer that gets creative and they push the collection out, but they're not taking into account that the consumer also has some needs. And so I think when they use that kind of data intelligence and they take a look at the products that they are designing and producing, that it leaves for opportunities to actually think about what they're putting out there in the world and how they can do it better, and maybe tailor the product more to the consumer's needs and create an impact that way. And I think that I don't hear many companies thinking about it. It's something that we can help them with, because of course, when we are transforming that online experience, we work with a survey. So we are gathering consumers' data, of course, GDPR proven within privacy policy, but we can give those fashion companies a real look at who is buying their products and what they look like. And when you know and understand your customers better, your real customers, and not like just a marketing persona that you're designing for, I think there is a real magic and power to really create a positive, sustainable impact and to reduce fashion waste and mass production of the wrong items even further.
So I love that you bring it back to the actual individual consumer as well, and making this a two-way conversation, like you said, not just a one-way conversation. You mentioned earlier in our conversation that there is all of the macro issues that you are trying to tackle with your technology, very serious issues. You also mentioned earlier on that you can boost body positivity for the users with this technology. Help us understand there, like, what are some of the things you're seeing with reactions of consumers, and where you're making an impact, not on a broader scale and for an industry, but on an individual consumers or users' life, if you will.
So with our software, we help consumers find more flattering clothing items for them. And I think when you're looking at body positivity in general, research shows that 8 out of 10 things that body negativity impacts their mental health. So by finding the right clothing items that can get them compliments, that can boost their self-confidence, people are really being more happy. So it empowers them to be who they are, but in the best way that they can. So I think for consumers that have used our service, they are more empowered. They are feeling better in their own skin. And because of that, they are enjoying life more, but they're also getting more opportunities and grasping them. So I think it's needed for the people as well to become more healthy in their mind, and to just be who they are, but in the best version that they can be. So Jasper, did you get that?
I got it.